I started Glassell when I was like 3 years old in Houston, and I kept going, on and off all my life there, and I'm actually still going there. So 10 years ago I joined a printmakers co-op called Burning Bones, where I did a lot of printmaking, woodcuts and etchings and such, which I really loved. I did printmaking for about 5 years. And then when I had my first daughter, I couldn't get into the studio anymore. So I started to pick up a camera at home and take pictures of things around my house, donuts, for example. I mean, everybody loves I love how beautiful, and like I almost found it a shame to eat those frosted donuts because I thought they were just so beautiful and like they need to be appreciated. So I started to take pictures of donuts and sweet things and ice cream, and to sort of preserve that moment of the beauty of the pastry. So I started to take pictures of those sorts of things, the sweets, the fun stuff. There's toys around me. I'm surrounded by a giant mess everywhere, so I'd like to start photographing those things. So I like to create these unrealistic, crazy, whimsical images. So it was interesting, and then it sort of developed like I wanted to do more with the images that just my camera wouldn't allow me to do. So I learned Photoshop. I went on YouTube to learn how to make different little animations, to figure out how to put these things together. So for example, I took pictures of oranges, and then I photoshopped my sister's legs sticking out of them because I thought you never see that. And I think in photography you see a lot of what's around you, and that's very nice, and I can appreciate that, but I like to give the viewer something different, something not seen before. I have 3 girls with a pair of identical twins, and I thought it would be just awesome to put them up on skyscrapers or steel beams as steel workers from the 20s. And so I started putting my kids and my pets, my chihuahuas, in these fantastic images, like my chihuahua as a monarch butterfly flying through the air, or my girls as Napoleon on the horse. And as I started to work, I started realizing I really enjoy sort of this photo manipulation collage work. So I started to expand sort of into animals. I do lots of different types of animals and meshing and in terms of like a butterfly and a zebra combination, or things you never see, like for example the mer horses. I started to develop sort of away from photoshopping children in funny situations to more different types of work, and taking in fact old paintings of the greats and photoshopping them into different scenes that you wouldn't see before. For example, The Last Supper in McDonald's, or Mary Magdalene riding on a skateboard down the street, sipping an icy. So I put them in everyday situations. I come from a very strict religious family. I actually got a call from my grandmother from Poland, Warsaw. She's like, "Julia, you cannot be making these artworks." I'm just like, it's all just to show that, everybody, even these great works, they were people. They were once, I think, people. I don't know, but it just to create a new spin on these works that everybody has seen a million times, and they're very much loved, but in a new way. I'm also working on a series of presidents, which is my biggest project up to date, where I'm taking all 45 of the presidents and remastering them, taking their old portraits, photos, and putting them, doing different things like skydiving or surfing, or having a hipster, glasses and beard, and just trying to find different ways to look at the presidents instead of just being these serious figures. Especially in today's world, we're starting to look at presidents almost in a different way, and it's sort of a new way of looking at presidents, which has sort of been developing over the last year, I feel. I like to insert factual things. For example, Zachary Taylor was thought of to eat a bowl of cherries, and then shortly after, a few days, pass away from an infection or dysteria from the cherries. So he's holding an ice cream cone with a cherry on top. Maybe presidentials aren't as presidential as we always think that them to be. So I put them in new whimsical situations or new outfits or doing silly things that you wouldn't expect them to be doing. I appreciate surprise in art, a surprise in the work, so that's what I try to create. I like to consider my art accessible to people, something that people can relate to, like something that will also allow people to get out of their everyday humdrum to escape to some other fantastical place.